some of the names were smuggled in and not part of those recommended by the Presidential Committee that screened applicant for the clemency, saying that the anti-graft agencies warned that releasing some of the convicts could undermine the ongoing fight against corruption and organized crime. And so a lot of people have actually reacted to this. And of course, the AGF had to come out to clarify things, saying that or giving reasons why none of the inmates that were recently pardoned vigilance and constructive feedback, but assured that the public would be duly informed as soon as all legal and procedural checks are concluded. He's saying that, clarify that no inmate approved by the clemency under the recent exercise of the president has been released from custody, saying that the process remains at the final administrative stage, which includes a standard of release is issued, and also stating that it is important to know that the last stage of the exercise after approval by the Council of State is the issuance of the instrument for implementation of the decision concerning each beneficiary. Summary of it all is just that it is just clarifying that none of the inmates are being released, especially for the names that have raised eyebrow, that they shouldn't maybe not even get into the list of the presidential pardon, which from several quarters, even from anti-graft agencies, had come out to say that review stage. We are still reviewing all of these things, that we are not yet to release any inmates. So I'd find your reaction to that.
Well, Lady Mo, clearly this is an afterthought. clearly an afterthought. Chief, I don't know whether to call him chief, but Babala Chief Fagbemi, yes, he's a man that a lot of Nigerians respect. When I say a lot of Nigerians. In fact, I got a call from someone yesterday, one of our, who had told me yesterday about this particular news. And of course, I had to dig it up and saw that the Attorney General is now saying that, look, none of those granted pardon had been released. And that in itself, that presidential pardon is still under review. And then you have also read out what he has said. There will be this, there will not be a consideration, blah, blah, blah. You see, a lot has happened under this administration. For example, his position as the AGF on what applicted the law on that particular. Now it has been completely politicized. Again, we've seen some very president granting pardon, clemency to hardened criminals, and these little things, not really little, but I call it little, quote and unquote here now, speaks to a larger problem we have with governance to the public. Without you doing all of the
necessary verification.
Let us take it this way.
Sorry.
There was a presidential pardon committee. What it means, if this is what he's saying, what it means is that the entire people in that presidential pardon committee are incompetent and never deserve to be on that committee in the first place.
That no review. That no review.
No, their job is input of the AGF.
According
to who is it?
According
yes,
to
I'm with you. President assigned. Say, are they whining us? They should not whine us. So if they've made a mistake, they should just apologize to Nigeria.
With his statement, he said that his statement. Now, if I'm going by his statement, does not interpret necessarily that they were wrong names, that were out.
There's nothing of the prerogative of mercy. We understand that it is the final call is from the president. But what crime is that, look, you can commit the crime once you have the right body within government and 2 years. How did they make the list? We are still in the era of serious issues of kidnapping all over the country. Right. And you have kidnappers making the list. What I'm saying is that Baba Fagbemi was an error. We are so sorry that this has happened. But this idea is still an administrative review of what? Of what the president has signed. What are they reviewing? The reality is that it will have happened. This is dangerous. So to now say that when they continue to the president, even made a press release, giving...
Especially even the concerns that the anti-graft agencies had raised, you know.
The security of the country. There are people who would have stood as witnesses against these criminals. Yes, we understand that, look, putting people in jail is not necessarily to go and finish them and kill them. It's supposed to be correctional in nature.
Right.
But this is not the way to do it. Part of your jail time.
Yeah.
You understand? And look, a lot of times that these things happen, it is given to prisoners of conscience. At the end of the day, the entire thing was maybe a contraption and what have you. And then if other criminals are going to make it, it must have been brought to the entire correctional service. Not that you just throw in no manner of people
out, because they're saying that
these are two men to be meeting. With everything they say about his capacity to have been able to govern a state like Lagos. One with the government, there was a lot of things like this. Under a president like not to tell us that it's an administrative review of what.
As Macaulay's family push AGF. Page 2 captures that in the Vanguard newspaper as well, and I'm sure it is across board because it has been the Punch newspaper. Yes, let's quickly talk about the new INEC chairman chamber after a voice vote arrived at the National Assembly complex earlier. Exchanged pleasant about some reforms that is going to be happening in INEC. Pledging that he would conduct a comprehensive audit of the INEC result viewing portal, the IREF, to yesterday before the Senate, and so he said that he would review or help.
Well, as expected, we have a new Senate as constitutionally required that the president transmits his name after approval by the Council of State. So that's happened yesterday. It's going to take days, so be it, because again we are talking about an institution in the eye of the sun that also owes the fate of more than 200 million Nigerians when it comes to how we conduct our elections and submit our mandate and give our mandate to a few Nigerian men has been highly recommended. But again, one would have expected that the Nigerian Senate would have done a more thorough job of this nature in the U.S. In fact, the man would not go directly to appear in the Senate. There's always going to be a Senate committee that will first meet with him. And
forgotten that the president said they don't screen.
They don't screen. They just confirm. Okay. So maybe the problem is from no, but you can see that consistently. Newspaper reports from this. But if we're going to go by the
president,
Senate, the Senate and Duma and one or two other senators, what they said about the fact that they don't screen, they just confirm. God bless you. But the reality is the man in charge is highly recommended. People have said a lot of good things about him, but a whole lot about his capacity, about his patience of law. So all of the legal problems that are going to arise in the election, something better than what we saw in 2023.
You were also strong about your convictions of him now, that he's going to deliver. I can cut out. I can cut out.
No. I'm that's not what I'm saying. Nigerians, we can always get things done properly, but it's a big task ahead of him. This is going to be bigger than whatever position he has ever held in his life. I'm sure about that. Right. Because he's not just dealing with ordinary people. You know what politicians...
Okay, you want to learn?
Yeah, I talked about IREV. Yeah, I saw that he talked about him checking what had happened with IREV, the glitches that happened, that he was going to do an audit. I don't know how he wants to. I just hope he's not just riding on the electoral system. He should just have abandoned that part of the cover. So ensure that he puts his foot down when it comes to internal democracy within political parties. Also ensure that, everyone that will be working with him gets the riot act. You misbehave, you're out. There's a lot on his table, really, but we wish.
Also, part of what he mentioned, he said, in my time, losers will congratulate winners. According to him, promised glitches that undermined 2023 election, says that it was never in Tinubu's election legal team. Okay, he also clarified that. And Electoral Act amendments, that's also
under promise over deliver. That's my advice to him. He has to congratulate winners.
Give a limited promise, and then you can
just the prospect of the job,
which is
not from what we have seen. He should be excited, but it should be. You don't
know that in the Vanguard newspaper and also across board. Let's quickly go to the business page of the Punch newspaper, where Nigeria is missing. Anyway, the IMF has revealed that Nigeria is now among Africa's fastest growing economies, as countries like Benin Republic are now among the world's fastest expanding economy. Part of the consideration of how they got to the conclusion. And so the Punch newspaper saying that even the omission, coming despite the IMF's recent upward revision of Nigeria's growth forecast, projecting that the economy is going to expand by 3.9% in 2025, driven by higher oil output, improved investor confidence, and a more supportive fiscal policy. But in all of this, we're still not getting to be rated by IMF with economies.
The economies of sub-Saharan Africa, African countries. And quite interestingly, Nigeria is missing on the list of countries that are considered to have an economy that is growing at a fast pace. Ivory Coast, and so I'm sure there are people who are going to go to town and say, okay, so how does the government now respond to this when you claim that the IMF has given a good outlook of Nigeria's economy, but on indirectly? I'm not someone to be excited or not excited about an IMF report. And this is an opportunity to also respond to people who think that, look, when some of these Brethren Wood organizations like the World Bank, IMF, I'm not an IMF World Bank thinker when it comes to global economic outlook. If some of you don't know, who understands what Pan-Africanism should be, World Bank, and unfortunately, we haven't read the reports, it's because the reports are making the news. It is not because it has any significance. When the World Bank also talked about the fact that, look, about 135 million Nigerians are now in multidimensional, them that your policies have put more Nigerians into poverty. Not necessarily because we are celebrating it, because there's nothing in the World Bank and bad or good. No, that's not what we do here. And that's why we advise you to open your mind when you listen to us. Open your mind and learn. If you don't understand, go and read. Here. Pick up books and understand some of the things so that we don't go into, there's nothing they are saying that we have not said, really, about the way this government has handled its own policy, the living standards of the reality of the people. You cannot. If you like, put inflation to 1%. So let's continue to live in delusion about some of these things. But it is good that at least.
The Punch newspaper. You're still on to trends in the paper. Our issues we have in our dailies, the app, and search for Mailer 96.3 FM and get a list. This quite was concerned from failed command had confirmed the arrest of a man, Lawal Farouk, who allegedly said, and so an ex-closing that the suspect claimed went ahead, became furious after the romantic release. And so following the incident, the military personnel at the barracks reportedly rescued the victim and rushed her to a hospital before two. Of course, even the Punch Metro had recorded persistency. It still went back to make sure that, yes, to kill the, and then I would take you with also a Metro story from the Vanguard. Detectives in Ondo State have arrested a father, Oyewole, for alleged incest in the Prague area, and was arrested for allegedly engaging in a prolonged incestuous sexual relationship, carnal knowledge, a consistent one of his daughter since she was 3 years old.
So that we are not just too political, economy, IMF, GDP, we pay every day. There are things that are happening that also deserves these issues of toxic relationships that now eventually become violent. I think that, again, true love and obsession. And when the other person becomes unnecessarily obsessive, it quickly turns violent. That's what no one else should even get close to it. And for our young ladies out there to function in that space,
why not?
In order to function in that space,
why not?
Very careful. Not only our girls, even boys too.
Right. They are victims.
Because we've also seen it on the other side too. We've also seen boys or men go your separate ways peacefully. And for the ladies too, once you begin to see that the guy has become too obsessive, is too choky, like you see, just begin to find a way to excuse yourself. You understand? Because there are some men who will not just leave this thing. So there are no correct reach that level.
Hello? Okay. In 3FM, we're perusing the pages of our dailies this morning to see what's happening the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and we're talking about the sometimes you wonder, you are in a romantic relationship, you claim you love this person, and then
that one is a clear case of in fact, I'm happy that he's been arrested, because if you
what do we
but again, in investigating matters like this, it's even possible that some people will also be culpable. Because if the man has a wife, nobody has reported the matter. So in cases like this, I also think that they should be looking at people around the man. There's a lot going on. We say that's why we tell people the girl child is not even to take care of them and the child. We have a lot of deranged people out there, and we're also moving around.
Side forward, let's quickly go to the Guardian newspaper. There's this report of an officer of the dead after lodging with 3 women in a hotel in Kase Expat, Zagazola, and also, according to him, said to have discovered, though, if according to the sources,
hotel allowed him to lodge the 3 women at the time. Go, what are you?
You know that he will not take them with him in uniform now.
So he has died now.
And he has been deposited. His remains have been deposited in the mortuary.
Did he arrive?
We lost
somebody. We lost somebody that killed himself. How do to go?
And I'm sure he has a wife. What are you looking for?
It's unfortunate.
It could be a fantasy.
All right. It's all good.
Well, and then
it's going to be a record and
fake $3,000 on operation in the corridor area of on October 5th. BC is error charms and even counterfeits, being the leader of the runner. So the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, President of Lagos State. Before we
signed the Lagos State Police Command. Fantastic one here. We always some people in the corridor before they were rounded up and arrested. So we sincerely, because these are guys that would have gone to that, dead bodies being found in different parts of Lagos, somewhere around Ajah, Ikorodu. This cult problem has become a menace. We're thinking about the problem with this cultism we have now. Is that, look, it is even being promoted by so-called, but now it has been shifted away from our tertiary institutions now. It is now in the street. Let them know. Even the bricklayer in your area, he will tell you, when I tell everybody, you are not even the Okada man that is carrying you. So it's now in the street. Young people who are supposed to have the future ahead of them, getting into this kind of mess. It's talking about Wike, Wahala, tomorrow, Tinubu, Atiku, and all that. There are also other issues that we should talk about.
Revealing that defections, legal dispute rock PDP as APC governors project strength. Gombe State counterpart Mohammed Inuwa Yahya were among governors forum, and among those earlier with the defection senators and representatives. Fintering saying on PDP's convention, PDP's crisis self-inflicted, says APC chieftain of party states. That's a statement credited to it.
As a party, they're having a good time, closed door meeting, they're having more meetings. So this is looking very good. Position, weakening the opposition. There's a court case, there's a pending status quo, and don't try to do any nonsense. When I give this convention is in November. Can we have a situation where a judgment is delivered in Abuja, delivers a judgment? That's not the final court. So preempting the court. But whatever the judgment is at this level, at the order to suspend the convention. And you don't be surprised that it will happen. Different from what I've been saying. When we try to negotiate his way for another show, I will have more time to flesh it out. This destruction of the PDP, the third-term agenda, the failed third-term agenda, and the decision of the former president to hand over the leadership of the party bound to fail.
Well,
and then to the point where Baba now tore his card. And look at
a headline in the captures that page is all around. God help us.